So when I started my public speaking class, I learned something that was kind of surprising, and that's that many don't know what the word stigma means. So I'm going to start out with a definition, so we're on the same page. A stigma is a mark of disgrace on one's character. It can be put onto either an individual or a group of people, and often brings shame, blame, or isolation. All of these sort of negative views towards them. The major example of stigma in society that you probably have heard of is mental health and gun violence. In a poll taken on Washington Post, 63% of the people said that they believed that mental health was the cause. Now, in actuality, only 3 to 5% of crimes committed involving guns by a person with a mental health condition. So this idea has instead been blown out of proportion and caused people to have negative views of people with a mental illness. Why is this issue important to me? I'm diagnosed with generalized and social anxiety disorders. I've had both all of my life, but wasn't diagnosed until my sophomore year of high school. I've been on and off therapy for 4 years. I'm on medication, and I took e-school for the last years of high school when things got particularly bad. I've had personal experience with stigma. I know that it's harmful for me. Other people have said that it's harmful, and there are countless websites that talk about the negative effects that it has. Within my immediate and extended family, there's depression, schizophrenia, mild schizophrenia, hypochondria, and agoraphobia. Why do we need to remove it? Well, one in every 5 people have a mental illness. I want you to think about all of the people you've ever met. Friends, family, classmates, teachers, even passing strangers. 1 out of every 5 of those people has the required symptoms to be clinically diagnosed for mental illness. The CDC says or finds that only 25% of the people with a mental illness find that other people are sympathetic towards them, or towards those who have one. That's quite a small amount, and I hope that we can work to improve that. Laura Greenstein from the National Alliance on Mental Illness also says that it's one of the greatest reasons why many people go untreated. They're afraid of the reaction other people have, such as saying it's their choice or they should just get over it, when in actuality that's not something that they can just do. It goes much deeper than that. People with a mental illness aren't any different than me. They just have a condition in their brain that makes them act in different ways. Many websites and organizations have worked to reduce stigma, and one of those ways is by making a pledge. I looked online through a lot of them, and most didn't have an actual idea as to what they wanted people to do. They just said, sign your name here if you want to help reduce stigma. The one that I did find, though, was Bring Change to Mind. I copied word for word from the pledge into here to show you what they said. And I split it up into 2 categories, self and interpersonal. And the self is all about starting with how you view people with a mental illness and what you know about it. You can't make any changes in the world without making a change in yourself first. All of this can be summed up in one word, and that's understanding. It isn't about being an expert on the topic or knowing exactly what to do if someone, say, has a panic attack or a schizophrenic episode. It's just about understanding that they're struggling and being there to support them. Next is interpersonal, and that's how you act around others, either someone with a mental illness or around others who are perpetuating stereotypes. It's just about changing things that you say in your language and about how you talk about the subject. And all of that has to do with social awareness. How you view society based on what you learned about the topic helps in changing This solution was chosen because pledges have been proven effective by Kotler and Lee. I'm sure many of you have signed pledges before in your life, so this isn't much different. Whether or not it's effective is based on how easy it is to incorporate it into your life. What this involves is self-education. That's just going online and learning about what having mental illness involves. I know that it sounds like a waste of time because you might not be directly impacted, but think again to how many people you've met in your life, and 1 out of every 5 of those people has one, whether you know it or not. You're going to interact with them, someone who has one eventually, so why not take the time to learn now? The effects. The more knowledge and support equals less stigma. Einstein from Miami says that stigma is rooted in a lack of knowledge, so it would seem logical that in order to reduce stigma, you'd increase the knowledge on the topic. It's also invaluable. You may not be able to see the impact it has on someone, but I can assure you that it does help. I mentioned at the beginning that I have 2 anxiety disorders. Now, for me, my support system is my mom. She's been the one who takes me to the therapy sessions, who put me on medication even though she was afraid of what it might cause. And she's always helped me through anxiety attacks, even when it happens at the most random times, whether we're in stores or public buildings. She wasn't always as supportive as she was. When I was younger, I didn't know what was wrong, and she certainly didn't, so that caused a bit of frustration. She mentions now that she wishes she could have done better, that she wishes she would have handled it better. But I tell her that it's not about the things that you say, it's how you handle it afterwards, whether you try to make things better, and she has. So 1 out of every 5 people have a mental illness. That means that it affects everyone, not just the people who have one. As this presentation comes to an end, I want to ask you to go online and sign this pledge because it'll help a lot with the problem. Are there any questions?